Hey, it's Ryan Gillard here with Real Broker, your Calgary Realtor, and today I'm about 30 minutes from downtown Calgary, northwest of the city in the boom town of Cochrane, one of the fastest growing towns in all of Canada. It's a beautiful setting. You got Rocky Mountain views, very rugged type feel, very Western vibe to it, and I think it's one of the best places around Calgary to raise a family. And in this video, I'll let you know my thoughts on the pros and cons of living in Cochrane. Let's go. And if you are watching this and thinking about making a move, feel free to reach out. I love to help you out. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. And I've also got some free resources for you in the pinned comment or the written description. I've got a buyer's guide, a seller's guide, and a relocation guide, all free for download. So check them out. All right, let's get into it. All right, first things first, I will show you on the map where Cochrane is located. So obviously here's Calgary. And if we follow Crowchild Trail, which is this yellow highway that you see right here, this will take you all the way out of Calgary and directly to Cochrane, which is this town over here. I'll zoom out just a bit. Not that far. I left to do this video about 10 a.m. on Monday, and it's going to be about 25 to 30 minutes to get from downtown Calgary to Cochrane. Now, that wasn't during rush hour, so if it's during rush hour, maybe add 10 minutes or so. So call it 30 to 40 minutes to get from Calgary to Cochrane. Not all that far. If you look at this legend, this is 1.25 kilometers. So it's about 10 kilometers from Cochrane to the northwest edge of Calgary. And this road you can do about 100 kilometers an hour. So it is pretty quick to get from Cochrane to Calgary. And at this point, I look at Cochrane as just a neighborhood of Calgary. It is its own separate town. It has a different type of feel to it, which I'll get into. But it's so close that it's basically just a bit of a quieter version of Calgary. It's quite scenic, though. It's got a different feel. And again, I'll get into all these different points as we get into this video. So let's talk about the vibe of Cochrane and the general feel of the town. So the town developed as a mining and ranching town. So it has a very Western type feel and vibe to it. I've driven through Cochrane and seen like cowboys on horses on the side of the road. So it definitely has a very Western feel to it. And I think Cochrane's great for people that want to live in a small town where you know your neighbors. So you might know your neighbors. It's getting up there in population, maybe about 40,000 people. But you might recognize people around town. It's not too far to get from any neighborhood to the downtown part of Cochrane, maybe 10 minutes. So it's not like in Calgary where it might take you an hour to get from northwest Calgary to the southeast part of the city. More laid back, it's quieter. So I grew up in Strathmore on the east part of Calgary, about 30 to 40 minutes east of the city. And I think Cochrane's the same kind of vibe, where it's a small town, but you have easy access to the big city. Now, Cochrane looks a lot different than Strathmore, but it's the same kind of idea, where it's just a more quieter, laid-back life, but you do have excellent access to the city at the same time. And whenever I'm in Cochrane, I just notice how beautiful it is. It has an outstanding setting. It could legit be an episode from Yellowstone. It kind of looks like that. You've got the Rocky Mountains in the distance. You've got the foothills. You've got the Bow River that flows through the town as well. It just is a stunning location. Excellent views, great for nature lovers to get from Cochrane to the mountains for skiing, cross-country skiing, cycling, hiking, stuff like that. Probably about 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half tops. So it's faster to get to the mountains than Calgary is, and it's just a stunning location, absolutely beautiful. And if you're looking for a quieter Western type vibe to live in, with great views, Cochrane is definitely the place to be. And lastly, I love the architecture of the downtown part of Cochrane. It looks like it could be a set for a Western movie film. You got the old-fashioned buildings, like saloons and stuff like that. It really does have a Western look to it, and it fully embraces it, and it's a bit of a blast from the past. I think it's a very unique town in Alberta, and definitely very beautiful with its own unique Western charm to it. And next up, I'll just give you a brief rundown of what the real estate prices and the market stats are like in Cochrane. So the total residential price, this is the average of all the different product types. So detached homes, duplexes, townhouses, and apartment-style condos. And the average price is $571,600. Now, this is cheaper than Calgary. I would say this is cheaper by about $100,000 compared to Calgary. These prices are up 5.9% year over year. The detached homes in Cochrane, which there are many, the average price is $670,700, up 6.4% year over year. Now, the average price of a detached home in Calgary, last I checked, was around $750 to $770, so it is cheaper than Calgary. Semi-detached, these are duplexes. Average price $512,500, up 5.4%. Townhouses, average price is $435,100. And lastly, condos, average price is $317,100. And a look at the sales. So this is for December, which is typically a very slow month. There were 39 sales. This is down 17% compared to last year. Our market is flattening out a little bit compared to the last few years, which have been crazy. New listings, there are 61, and that is up 27% year over year. So the sales are down and the listings are up, which signifies that we are moving into a more of a balanced market compared to the red hot conditions. You know, things could change. December and January are the slowest months in real estate, so this could change. But as of right now, the sales are down and the listings are up. Inventory, there are 146 active homes for sale in Cochrane. That is up 31% year over year. And the months of supply, 3.74. So if you look at a lot of my videos, I do a monthly market stats, and there were times when we were less than 1 month of supply in Calgary. It was extreme red hot seller's market conditions. 3.74 is not bad. This is more of like a balanced market. This number is up 58.5% year over year, which is a big number, but we're moving away from like no inventory. So even though 58.5 sounds like a lot, that's up from basically nothing. So not to be alarmed, we're just going from a red hot market to more of a balanced market. And to give you a better idea of what the real estate looks like, I've picked out 3 detached properties for you. So the first one here, in the West Valley neighborhood, this is more of the entry-level home that you can find here. Only $568,000 for a single-family home built in 1994. It's a bi-level. 1,238 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and it looks like this. I won't go through all the photos, just to be brief here. The next home is a brand new option. For only $660,000, you can buy a 2025 brand new home, a 2-story with a front garage, 1,868 square feet, 3 beds, and 2.5 bathrooms, unfinished basement, and a double attached garage, which I already mentioned. I'll just zoom in here. Looks like a nice home, and this is in the neighborhood of Sunset Ridge, which is a very popular neighborhood. And the last one I'll show you here is in the neighborhood of Glen Eagles, which I think is one of the best neighborhoods in Cochrane and in Calgary. This is a very unique neighborhood. My intro video was shot in Glen Eagles, actually. And if you keep following my channel, I will make a neighborhood video specifically on Glen Eagles, which I think is a very interesting neighborhood. This is more of a high-end option, $1.178 million on the market for 6 days. This one is 1,622 square feet, 2 beds, 3 bathrooms, and it's a bungalow. And I'll just show you some of the photos here. Looks like a very unique property. And there's some stunning views from this neighborhood overlooking Cochrane. And this just gives you a rough idea of the entry-level model, a brand new option, and a home in one of the more upscale neighborhoods of Cochrane. Next up, let's talk about amenities. And whenever you hear about Cochrane when you're in Calgary, it's always about McKay's Ice Cream. This has become a big tourist draw for the town. And it's just a local ice cream shop with lots of different flavors and good quality ice cream. I've been there a million times, and it is great, but there's a lot more to Cochrane than just ice cream. I love the whole downtown part of the town. It's really old-fashioned looking, looks like a Western set, and there's all sorts of cool little boutique shops along downtown. And the town itself, it's got pretty much everything. There's a Walmart, there's a Canadian Tire, it's got all the fast food options. You basically don't have to leave Cochrane for anything. Maybe minus Costco, but there's a Costco in the Sarcee Country Hills area of northwest Calgary, and not Country Hills, but Stony Trail area, which is not that far, maybe 50-minute drive from Cochrane, maybe 20 minutes. But that will be about it. Everything else you can actually just do in Cochrane. You don't have to leave for that many reasons. So everything is right in the town. And there are many more amenities in the Cochrane area. You've got access to the Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park, a very scenic provincial park. You have access to the Cochrane Ranch House, which is a convention center, banquet, good for weddings, also very scenic. Pretty much everything around here is very scenic. You've got access to the Bow River, lots of different walking trails along the river paths and cycling and stuff like that. There's the Spray Lakes Sawmills Family Sports Center, a big fitness center. There's the farmers market, hockey arenas. There's all sorts of different amenities in the Cochrane area. Oh, and I can't forget, there's also easy access to the Rocky Mountains, so that's great for skiing, cycling, hiking, biking, all sorts of activities in the mountains. And it's actually easier to get to the mountains from Cochrane than it is from Calgary. And there's all sorts of golf courses around here as well. And next up, I'll just briefly talk about the different schooling options in Cochrane, which there are many. When I made this video, I didn't realize how many schools there actually were in the town. There's about 12 schools in Cochrane. If you pull up Wikipedia, you can see them all. So for the Rocky View School Division, there are about 9 different schools I can count here. And for the Calgary Catholic School District, there are 3 different schools. And you can see them all on the map here. A big question I get about Calgary is, where are the best schools in the city? I think for bigger cities, you've got access to private schools, and people are very concerned about where they bring their kids to school. Small towns, I don't find it's that much of a big deal. It seems like people just bring their kids to the nearest school to them in small towns, and I don't think Cochrane is all that different. The newer parts of Cochrane are here in the Sunset Ridge area. You've got this area over here, Heritage. You got Fireside over here. These are the newer areas that are under construction, so these schools will be newer. The older part of Cochrane is in this area. And next up, let's talk about transportation. So I already mentioned that from downtown Calgary to Cochrane, it's about 30 minutes during off-peak hours. During rush hour, it might be slightly longer. So it's not too bad. What is bad, though, is that Cochrane is booming in terms of population growth, one of the fastest growing towns in Alberta and the country, and the infrastructure is not keeping pace. So this road right here is Crowchild Trail. It's fine. You can go about 80 to 100 kilometers an hour until you get to Cochrane, and then all of a sudden you hit red lights. So you can't drive through the town going 100 kilometers an hour like you can with Airdrie. So if I go back to Airdrie over here, this is the QE2 highway. You can go 110 kilometers an hour right through Airdrie, and they have 3 or 4 exits that will take you into the town. Cochrane is not like that, so where all of a sudden you're doing 80 to 100, and then you hit red lights in the middle of Cochrane, and the traffic can get backed up forever. Just with the population growth, it's a bit of a mess here right now. You can see the red is all under construction. They are trying to fix this, but I don't know if they can fix it where you can go 110 right through the town. It's not really designed for that, but they are trying to streamline it. So I'll have to look into it. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but it is a bit of a mess, and there's a lot of construction around here. This is my only negative with Cochrane, is that this is a bit of a mess, this intersection, and it can be very annoying and backed up for a long ways, but they are working on it. Now, in terms of walkability, I think if you're in the old part of Cochrane in here, you could easily walk through town, no problem at all. I think it might be a bit of a trek if you're in Glen Eagles or Sunset. This is all very hilly as well, so it might be a bit of a walk. I don't think I'd want to do that, but definitely if you're in the inner city part, inner town part of Cochrane, it would be very walkable. In terms of the C train, does not go to Cochrane, but the first C train stop is actually in Tuscany over here, and they do have that park and go where you can park your car and get on the C train. And that will take you right to downtown Calgary. So no C train in Cochrane, but it's not far off from the town. So I'd say if you're living in Cochrane, I would definitely have a car. But I'd say that anywhere in Alberta. Alberta, you need to have a car, and Cochrane is no different. And last up, who is Cochrane best for? And I would say there are 4 different types of groups that it would be best for. Number 1 is families. It's super safe, friendly, and it's just a great family-friendly town. Number 2 would be outdoor enthusiasts. If you want to get to the mountains as quickly as possible, definitely put Cochrane on your list. Same with Canmore, but Canmore is significantly more expensive than Cochrane, and Cochrane also offers easy access to Calgary. So I would definitely put Cochrane on your list if going to the mountains often is what you like to do. Number 3 would be retirees. Cochrane is just, it's got all the amenities, but it's a slower pace of life than Calgary. Super safe, super friendly. I think it's also great for retirees. And number 4, I think it's good for professionals who want to live in Cochrane and also commute to Calgary. It offers a mix of small town vibe, just so close to Calgary that you can still have your job downtown and then go back to your smaller town afterwards. All right, there you have it. That's my guide for living in Cochrane. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you are thinking about making a move, feel free to reach out. I'm easy to get a hold of. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.